I'll tell you what fucked the world. Feminism.
Yep.
And let me explain why. Let me explain why. Because, you know, I say on podcasts and girls say to me, you say men should cheat, men can't cheat, men need to be loyal, all this crap, blah, blah, blah. There was a time when there was a very simple social contract, and it wasn't too long ago. In the 1950s or the 1960s, you married your high school sweetheart, you had children. The man could pay for the house. His job was to go to the factory and pay for the house. She had a job which was to birth children and take care of the children. It was bad, not only for her to cheat, but he would be ostracized. Even he, as a man, would be looked down on by society for stepping out of his marriage. That's how society worked. Did men break that contract, or did women break that contract? Because it was feminism and women saying, I don't want to listen to my husband. I want to make my own decisions. I don't want to have children young. I want a Birkin bag, and I want to go on Andrew Tate's Obsidian Blade yacht, so I don't want kids. So let's get rid of this and let me make my own choices. By doing that, we have now built a society where most women are chasing 1% of men and sharing him. And most of those men are so scared of the government, they don't want to give most of these women kids. So we have most women wasting their sexuality as playthings, running around the world for rich men being used as toys. Nobody is focused on family anymore. And men in the middle, the average man, can't even get anywhere near a girl. And that has created all of the societal problems that we've discussed since. It is feminism that has destroyed the West, actually. If people were still focused on family, and I would argue that if you were to get 25-year-old men and 25-year-old women in here and say, do you want kids? The men would all go, yes, I'd love a son. It's the women who go, yeah, maybe when I'm older, not now. Women don't want to have kids. And they don't want to have kids because they're holding on for a billionaire, which they saw on fucking TikTok. It is feminism which has destroyed everything. And women have actually shot themselves in the foot with this, because women say to me all the time, yeah, you know, you're advocating for men to have kids or have multiple women and all this, blah, 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 blah. If you believe a broke man doesn't deserve pussy, then you believe a rich man deserves all he wants. You made that choice. You said broke men don't deserve me. So you said only rich men deserve me. And guess what? There's less rich men than there are females. Welcome to the earth you have built, feminists. Welcome to the earth you have built, women. If you're gonna sit there and have such unrealistic financial expectations from the man you date, you're gonna share him, because everyone has those expectations. This is the world that feminism built. Feminism destroyed the West. And every single problem, socialism, the capitalistic issues, the home issues, the birth rate, the crime, all this crap comes from feminism. That's why my war originally was on feminism. Now let's talk about the next stage. Why did that get me in so much trouble? This is what's really interesting, because as much as I love women, and I'm not a misogynist, and I take care of every woman in my life, and I love my mother, and I have daughters, and I take care of all the women who have my kids, and they have security teams and Bentleys and mansions, and I'm a provider for absolutely everybody. I'm a very nice man. I like women. Unfortunately, women are a conduit. They are used by other groups of powerful men to destroy the society we live in. Do you know what? Let me tell you something. I have this theory. It's the high-low theory. I think we've all heard it before. Who didn't get the vaccine? Billionaires knew better, and homeless people knew better. You get fucked in the middle. Who doesn't pay taxes? Billionaires don't pay taxes. Homeless people don't pay taxes. You get fucked in the middle. If you're really rich, it's true. It's true, right? If you're at the extremes, you understand things that the people in the middle don't. And I never grew up. I'm not a hedge fund. My dad wasn't rich. I didn't have a silver spoon. Unfortunately, I grew up at the absolute bottom. And I got a version of the world as this mafia, gangland, everybody out to get each other. And then I got to the top and I was like, oh shit, it's exactly the fucking same. And you know what you do at the bottom if you're trying to get a guy? You watch his girl's Instagram story, because she can't help but post the restaurant. She has to show off. That's where he is. Do you know what you do at the bottom if you want to get a guy? You kidnap his girlfriend. You follow her. The guy, he's smart. He's hard to follow. His head's on a swivel. But his chick, oh, she's wandering around. She's on her phone, she's doing her lipstick.
Oh my
That's
God.
how you find him. When the police want to find a criminal and he's hiding, they call all his chicks. This is standard operating procedure. It's the same at the top. How did they get me? How will they get any of you in here? They use women as a conduit to damage people. Women are not evil. I'm not insulting women. I'm saying that the men at the top are using women as a weapon against other men. They're doing it on purpose, and they're doing it by even destroying the fabric of society. Benefits to socialists. This benefits them. That's why they're making women undateable. That's why they're pushing feminism. That's why they're destroying family. That's why they're completely they're growing the gap between men and women in society because they know that families are actually their enemy. Read a socialist playbook. Read Democrats. All they are is anti-family. That is their number one primary weapon. So how do you do that? You convince women that having kids is wrong, or having kids is somehow slavery or servitude in some way that's embarrassing to do. You make motherhood, instead of being the highest virtue of a woman like it should be, you do the absolute opposite. This feminism thing, this whole feminism crap, the saddest thing about it is it's not even driven by women. It's driven by evil men behind the feminism, who are using it to attack other men. Just like at the bottom you use women to attack other men, it's exactly the same at the top. And it is feminism that has destroyed the West. And when you go against feminism, like I did, you get in a lot of trouble. If I told you go against the vaccine, you go against big pharma, you catch a case, you'd believe me. If I say you go against big women, you catch a case, you'd be like, what? You do. You actually do, because the people who are behind the feminism get very upset when you convince young men not to buy into this crap and to have standards for themselves and to try and push to have a family. That is a big problem for them, because feminism is their primary weapon. Let's discuss why. And I'll ask you a question. This is a thought experiment for everybody here. If you're the king of your castle, would you defend it? If you come home and your wife prepares you a meal and your kids obey you and they love you and they're not psyoped by YouTube and the school system, and when you talk, they respect you as the man, and you all sit around the table and you're the head of the table, and someone comes into your town near your house, your family, you're the king in that household, you're gonna defend it. But when you come home and your wife's nagging and you don't fuck and your kids don't listen because they're busy watching YouTube and they've gone to school and learned some crap you don't even like, and every time you have any concerns or raise your voice, your wife's just in your ear nagging at you, pecking away at you, blah, 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 blah. She deserves more. I saw on TikTok this girl had a Lambo. Why don't I have these things? Blah, blah, blah. Are you now preparing, do you feel ready for war as a man? You've given up, bro. You're like, fuck it, take society, take the road, take the street, take the town, take the fucking country, whatever. Leave me alone. Do you know what pushed COVID? Feminism. Feminism, this one I'm going to jail. Feminism pushed COVID. A man came home, there's COVID and it's really dangerous. Don't care. Oh yeah, but grandma and the kids, and you should just put a mask on. The wife, the women, oh, I'm scared. Because women, as much as I love women, I'm not a misogynist. My judge in Romania is a woman. Woo! Convenient. Woo! No, as much as I love women, their superpower is emotionality, which means you can beat them with emotional arguments. Let's analyze COVID. How did they get you COVID? Grandma. Now, when they said grandma to me, I said, grandma's 93, and 93-year-olds die. So it's unfortunate, but grandma's old, and I'm young, and I have things to do. It's very unfortunate. This is the circle of life. Women don't think that way. But grandma. Take the vaccine. Lock us in our house for years. Put a mask on. Take it off when you eat. Put it on when you fucking piss. With grandma. Emotional arguments. They do this with everything. Immigration. You sit and say, if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. Perhaps that's the number one thing that defines a country is its border. But look at this kid. This kid at the border. A kid. Emotionality. So if you empower women to the point where they're more powerful than men, you now get to psyop the entire population with emotional arguments. You can throw logic out the window. So they have taken feminism, they've empowered women to the point where they're more powerful than men. And anyone sitting here who thinks a woman's not more powerful than him, go to divorce court. You'll learn, as much as we complain about the patriarchy, women have more rights than you, they have more protections than you. There's not a single thing you can do that they can't do, and they can do a whole bunch of things you can't. A woman, take it from me, can lie to the police about you raping her 10 years ago with no evidence and take all your money and put you in a cell. Women run this show. They run it, and it is done purposely by the evil men who want women in charge, so men are scared of them. So when the women believe the emotional argument on the TV, they then henpeck their man into believing it. And before you know it, we're all locked in our house wearing fucking masks for 3 years because of grandma. It is feminism that has destroyed the West. It is big women that has destroyed the West. And me talking about exactly that is why I had to go sit in a fucking cell. That's the problem.
Let me tell you, when you said big woman, you had me. That was like...
he meant big pharma, big women, big women too.
But going
Please
back...
write to me.
Yeah.
No, I don't think...
Let me, hang on. Two things. I think the more I sit there and I think about if all of these guys who wanted to do this and were behind it, if there was a number one candidate to take out who was making progress with pro-family, with pro-God, with pro-kids, with finding a community of bringing the youth together. Parents were bringing their kids and saying, look at this guy, what he's creating. He's saying, go have a job. He's saying, marry. He's saying, have kids. The number one guy they took out was Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
He was the number one guy that was making momentum against all this stuff. And by the way, you talk about God and, Jesus and the role it played in Charlie's life, your life, our life. My dad would always say something. It's so interesting what he would say. He would say, do you see that man how he is when his wife is in the room? I said, yeah, what about it? He says, you know why he's like that? I said, why? He doesn't make enough money. He said, the wife, you can tell, he needs money. He doesn't have money saved. A man who has money in savings doesn't act like the way that man acts.
Wow.
And by the way, you know how long he's been saying this? My entire life. Yep. He would say, Patrick, whatever you do, go make money, because man needs to make money and provide and protect, because you want your woman to look at you, and you want that look. That look she gives you where you
feel
say,
a certain way. That's
boom,
right.
I got it.
Gabriel's telling you this?
Oh, he's been saying this for. He would literally sit in a room and he would say, look at the way she looks at her husband. Look at the way she looks at her husband. He's lost his manhood. It's a very good point.
I want to put Patrick on the spot. Because I don't want to go to jail by myself.
Let's do it.
Well, Andrew,
we pull some good
we don't
friends.
hang out enough. We don't hang out enough.
Taking him with you.
We don't hang out enough.
Andrew, I already have the sign just in case. Just in case, I already started it.
We don't hang out enough. So let's.
You may go, but we're keeping him.
All right. Well, we're all smart men here, right? So let's.
Well, three of us.
Okay. Well, we're all smart men.
Sorry,
right?
Adam.
Let's have a conversation, right? If I want to convince you of something, and I need to use facts and logic, then I would argue that more than likely, I'm not saying it's the right thing, but I have some form of evidence to back my theory up, right? I want to convince you with facts and logic, so I need to find evidence. If I want to convince you with an emotional argument, like grandma or like the kid at the border, I don't need facts or evidence. In fact, we can ignore facts and evidence. So the logical conclusion to that is that emotional arguments are likely being used to push bad ideas because they have no evidence and no factual basis. And the other side, the logical, rational arguments, have some degree of factual basis, so those are likely the good ones. So the emotional arguments are the bad ones, and the logical arguments are the good ones. Meaning that the emotional arguments that we're pushing towards feminists who now run their households and all these empowered women are the negative ones. And the ones that men believe, which are based on reasoning and facts and logic, are the good ones. So we're gonna do a thought experiment. Let's talk about the emotional arguments, and let's talk about the things that are currently destroying America. And I'm gonna ask you, simple yes or no answer, or the simple one of two options. Who supports these ideas more? By and large, generally, women or men. Who supports abortion more, women or men?
Women.
Who supports open borders?
Women.
Who supports socialism?
Women.
So if you start going through all of the problems of America,
Yeah.
everything that's destroying it, who is the biggest advocate for these things?
White liberal women.
Women are destroying everything. Put me in jail.
No.
Women are destroying everything.
But by the way, I would
started
tell you
with the
this.
apple.
No,
Now,
I
I'm not saying all women. I'm talking in general. I'm not saying women are bad. I'm saying that they've been psyoped
Yeah.
by evil men. I'm actually blaming men here. I'm not blaming women. I'm saying that women are the conduit. Women are being used to do the work of the devil via emotional arguments and destroy Western society. Who is pro drag queen story hour by and large?
The young moms.
Liberal
Women.
That are, yeah.
Who is you name?
You must preface it with liberal women.
You name anything negative about Western society that is currently destroying the place, and ask who is the largest advocate for this thing, men or women?
It's
women.
It's
Liberal
white
Every-
liberal women.
Every single time. And when you point that out, like I just have, you get in a lot of trouble.
With
Now when a female DA indicts me, there we are.
Well, he said DeSantis and his girlfriend, so I don't know who the girlfriend
That's why
is.
he tried.
But to go there, Tate, when I was first doing business content only, and I wasn't touching politics, who would approach me? Business guys, young guy, I'm gonna start a business, what do you think I should do? How do I raise money? How do I do this? The moment I said, kind of want to share my thoughts and my opinions about what's going on with politics, and this is like during COVID when I started. Vinny, be careful with that thing. Yeah. So once I started doing that, and I talk about pro-family, and one of the clips I made was about LGBTQ community and what it was doing to America. You know who was one of the first people that commented on it? Charlie Kirk. Charlie said, hey, it's great to see that your content business, you're risking talking about this stuff. And Charlie, I interviewed Charlie in 2017 when he was 23 years old.
Wow.
And I told Mario, I said, this guy's going to be the president one day. This guy's, he's a
100%.
extremely capable guy.
100%.
But I'm going to tell you, the moment I started talking about family values, the moment I started talking about what's going on with America, the challenges, the issues it's facing, you know who started pulling me aside at restaurants? Well, we're at Hamptons one time. A 94-year-old lady comes. I asked her age. Vinny's with me.
Yep.
She walks up. She says, I never miss your podcast.
Yep.
He says, you have no idea how important you are. My grandkids watch it.
Yep.
Young men need to watch this because you talk family and business combined together.
That's right.
I had more women coming up saying we need more of this content than you would believe. So what's the point?
No, I know that's true.
Yeah, so the point I'm making to you is it's extremely important to qualify its liberal women,
of course,
who have been bought into the psyop that you're talking about to win them over, and of course the louder they're because
liberal women are feminist women.
What is a conservative woman like? Actually think about a
of
conservative
course,
woman.
of
How
course.
does she live?
Of
How
course.
does she live?
Of course.
Her life is very, hey, husband's priority, kids are priority, community's priority. I got to pick up the kids, I got to drop them off, I got to do this. Family's got to be good. They're not out there trying to get everything that comes with it.
So you're completely right, Patrick. And the reason I know you're telling the truth is because, and this flabbergasts people, but I have never had a negative interaction with a woman in person in my life ever. Women come up to me and they love my content too. But when you say conservative women, and this is the thing that might get us in trouble, I ask you, is a conservative woman in charge of her man? Or is a man the head of the household?
No.
Okay, so we're now advocating for a patriarchy. We're now doing the number one thing, which
No,
is
wait a minute. Let me correct my answer. Ask me the question one more time because I want to give the right answer.
Sure. Is a conservative woman in charge of her man? Is she the head of the household?
I don't think so.
So
I don't think so.
Exactly. So we're naturally advocating from a position of protectiveness, not from a position of authority, not from a position of oppression.
Yeah.
We're actually advocating for a patriarchy, saying, look, we'll take on the stress. We'll deal with the problems. We'll pay the bills. We'll protect the house. I'm not here to oppress you. I'm not here to treat you badly.
Right.
I'm actually here to lead, and a conservative woman lets a man lead. And that's the point I'm making, that these feminists have been told that a man should never lead them, and that is why they're led astray by the system. So to say things which are controversial and will get you in a lot of trouble, that's my job, so I'll do it. If men are by and large in charge of the households and in charge of society, it is much harder to psyop the population with emotional arguments, which is why they're trying to remove man from the head of the household, so they can use emotional arguments to convince you to commit suicide. Right. The Western world is currently committing suicide, and they can only convince you to do that emotionally because it's illogical to destroy your own society. It's illogical. So this is very purposeful. Mm-hmm. So when a woman sits across from me on any kind of podcast or a dating podcast or anything, says, I don't listen to no man. I'm like, you're not my enemy. You don't realize that you're a pawn on a board. You don't realize you're being used by my actual enemy, who's a man, who understands very well how to destroy the basics of society so that we are open for the mass enslavement. Because if anybody thinks that's where any of this ends, with AI, with the riots, with the burning of cities, with the mass crime, you know what they do? There's only one thing, and COVID's the lesson. There's only one thing that humans will accept a loss of freedom for: safety. I will take away your freedom and give you safety. I can prove that because I live in the safest country in the world and I don't have freedom, but I'm safe. So even I will say, you know what? Dubai is very controlled, but I can wear a $5 million watch in the middle of the night, and my woman and my kid, the young girl and a woman by herself, can go for a walk at 3 a.m. So we'll all accept a lack of